Hello and welcome back to the Catholic Guide live show. I'm your host, Tucker, and today we're going to be talking about some really cool topics, some really fun things, and we're also going to be talking about a little bit about Catholic life, how to live as a Catholic, how to be Catholic. This is presented by TCG Media. We're going to be talking about red pill dating. For some reason, I'm always getting onto the topic of dating. I don't know why. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it has to do with that it's important with the Catholic faith because it's forming Catholic families and the future of the Catholic Church. And so that's pretty important to me. And I also think that it has to do with wanting people to succeed in this thing that is totally lied, that people are totally lied to about. Its common misconceptions are always flooding, especially teenagers' minds. So once again, like I said yesterday, we talked about feminism, and today we're going to be talking about pretty much the polar opposite of feminism, and that is red pill dating. And we're going to get into that in the nitty-gritty of all this stuff, what it is, why it's bad, why it's good, what we can take good from it and what we can take bad from it, and where it kind of came about. Red pill doesn't only apply to dating, it applies to things like politics and stuff, like the red and the blue pill. It started with the Matrix. We'll get into the history and stuff about that, but I do want to say one thing. Oh my goodness, guys. I have been breaking into catechism, especially trying to research for these videos, but almost every morning I like to read a bit of the catechism because it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful work of our poetry, and it's so accessible. It's our faith written in a book, and that goes for the Bible, the catechism, and all of these resources that we have. I think that it's so important that we have those resources and that we should go to those resources because it's a good thing to have. We should want to learn about our faith. If we truly love it, we should want to learn about our faith. And so I think that is the good part about this faith because we have so much resources. Back in the day, they didn't always have the catechism. The catechism is relatively new. Within the last 50 years, it's new. 1993 around is when it was published, and it wasn't published like until a year after that for the United States because there was some transcribing errors. That doesn't really have to do with today's show, but it's a beautiful work of poetry that has to do with our faith, and I would say that's a wonderful thing that we can get to know our faith. And so do that. Crack open your catechism. I'm glad that you're here watching these videos. Watch videos about your faith. Watch people like Father Mike and Pints with Aquinas and Ascension Presents. It's so important to learn about our faith because we have to understand why we are doing something. I would also say it's important to read books about our faith too. I learned so much from reading books, not only watching people like Father Chris Aylar or something like that, but also reading books by Edward Sri and by Trent Horn. It's very important to understand our faith and to be able to stand up for our faith. When somebody says in public or when somebody in your class says, oh, well, the Catholics worship Mary, and then you can't stand up for your faith, that's the problem. And so we have to dig deeper than this just Sunday school Bible study, Sunday school teachings, these VBS teachings, and actually dive deep into what the church teaches on these hard topics. We talk about on this show hard topics, so I think that it's important to talk about things. And while there are good things like VBS, it's good to a certain point. I one time went to a Christian Bible study, not a Catholic Bible study, and that's very rare for me. And during that Christian Bible study, we broke into small groups. And one of the first things that a person said, well, isn't there a religion that like worships Mary? There was 3 Catholics in that Bible study, like that. There was 3 Catholics in the break-off small group. And we all said, as a Catholic ourselves, we don't worship Mary. And we had to explain to this kid, but it was hard. It was hard to hear that, especially if us Catholics, us strong Catholics who know our faith, were not there. And there was those Catholics who don't know their faith, those lukewarm Catholics who don't know their faith. If they were just there, that would be really hard. And we would have to understand, and we have to understand that even in these situations, there's these questions that aren't being answered. So there's people going out and spreading false rumors about Catholicism, spreading false teachings, and they're saying, well, this is what the Catholic Church believes. Go to Catholic resources and see what the Catholic Church believes. I can't go to a Catholic and ask them about Judaism. I go to a Jewish person and ask them about their religion. It's important to learn about other people's religion, but it's important to learn about other people's religion through these credible sources. Okay, so like I said, today we're going to be talking about dating. We're going to be talking about red pill. What we think about this kind of sphere of dating. we date and stuff. And I've had videos on masculinity and femininity, and I've also had videos on Catholic dating and on dating in high school. And I think it's important to understand these different aspects that we're coming to. There's no two like super duper strong opinions that we can take. We can't. It's kind of like the idea of there's a divide in our church, you could say, of fundamentalism versus progressivism. Okay, so fundamentalism is really traditional, really trad. And so it's the idea that we need to be doing everything traditionally. Latin Mass, we need to be going to Latin Mass. We need to be going to these things and doing these things. We need to be only having Latin Mass. And if we actually look at the history, Latin Mass isn't the original tradition. It was actually in the vernacular, which was the common word of the people. And then they switched 500 years into it, and 500 or 600 years into it, they switched to the Latin Mass, and then it got divided, and it got really divided, and there's this divide in the church now. It's like we have these super fundamentalists, and then we have these progressives, and they're clashing because one is saying, well, we only need Latin, and one is saying we only need Novus Ordo, and what Novus Ordo is supposed to do is bring those two together. And if we have a reverent and good Novus Ordo church, then it's a good thing, and we can see that unity. But that's what we're called to as Catholics, drawing each other in and drawing each other from that divide into unity, because we need a unified church. If we don't have a unified church, then we have what we see in the Protestant church of a ton of denominations, and nobody can clarify what they teach. We have a wonderful church where the teachings are set in stone, and those teachings aren't going to change. And so other Protestant denominations all have their own ruling, and they don't have a sense of authority, and that's something really beautiful in the Catholic Church, that we have that sense of authority. So we cannot have this all the way extreme, we need red pill dating, and we can't have this all the way extreme, we need feminism. We can't have that, because then they clash. And like I was saying yesterday, you can't fix a wrong by pushing out another. You can't have feminism, which makes women masculine and it feminizes men. You can't have that, because then you're pushing out the men. You have to, it's just like I said yesterday, I used this, you can't solve racism by being racist to the people who were originally racist. That's not going to work. It's just going to create this cycle of racism. And so you can't solve this problem by saying we need to be all the way feminist, and then the other side saying we need to be all the way red pill. There's a middle. And there's good parts of red pill and there's good parts of feminism, but the majority of both are not good. And that's why the Catholic Church actually holds the truth to these problems, because it holds the truth that we are both created equally in the image and likeness of God. We are both created with equal dignity and equal righteousness, and none of us are worthy at all, and God is the one who makes us worthy. It's not our own action, it's not our sexuality, it's not how many people we can pull, it's not how strong we can be, it's not the rungs of positions that we can have. It's about the people who we are and that mercy that Christ bestows on us. It's about Christ and his mercy and nothing else. Nothing else can make us worthy. Okay, so we need to work together and not apart. Like I was saying, if we're working together and we're being apart from each other, here is the problem. When we seek attention from the other gender, we need to make sure we're seeking it in the correct way. Okay, so we are supposed to, men and women are called to treat our bodies like a temple, because we are created in the image and likeness of God. We represent what God is. And so as a representation of God, we need to act good in our words and in our bodily appearance. So that if that means working out, that's good. But what red pill is taking it to extreme, and what feminism does is it takes it to an extreme. Okay, so we can't have those extremes. We need to work together and say, yes, we need to be fit, and yes, we need to be equal. And so that works together, and that is a teaching of God. But when we go to an extreme of one level, it starts to suppress another. Okay, so you can't have the two extremes. True femininity is not found within feminism, and true masculinity is not found in red pill. It's actually cowardice that's found in red pill. It's a seeking for attention because you in yourself don't feel like you have enough attention. And it's also, they're actually both seeking for justification in what you're doing, because you want to be justified in your masculinity and you want to be justified in your femininity, but it just spews lies at you. So you cannot have that justification. You will never get that justification from a lie. You will never get a justification from a lie. The only justification that we need is from God's ever-loving heart and his love and his draw to us. That's the only type of love we need to seek. Because God is true love, and God is love, and Jesus is love. He says that in the Gospels. And if we take Jesus for love, we will realize that both of us are broken human beings. All of us are broken. And if we are united in God, we will find true love. We will find true masculinity. We will try to find true femininity, and it will work in perfect unity. And that's what I'm trying to stress. If we find true masculinity and we find true femininity, we will be in awe with God's love, in awe with everything He does. So that is the wonderful deeds that God bestowed upon us. That's a wonderful gift that He bestowed upon us. And we are called to be cherished like God's children, because that's what we are. So first, I would like to say, you really should, like I said in the beginning, learn about the faith. It's important to learn from these types of videos, and it's important to learn from the Catholic Church perspective, like I said, so that you can defend your faith. And so we are blessed to be able to live in a world where this is so accessible. And so I'm going to talk about what red pill dating is right after this short break. I hope that you can stay tuned for the next part of this episode, because it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. So stay tuned for the rest of this episode. Hello, and we are back live from the studio for the Talk with Tucker. I'm your host, Tucker, and we're talking about red pill dating, this exciting topic. So this is mainly for men, but it's good for women to learn. Just like I encourage men to learn about the feminism, because it's good to know the ins and outs, and also to know the evils and the goods of it. Like I said last time, the good of feminism is majority with the first wave, and the rest of the waves are dangerous. And just like the good part of masculine dating and the masculine energy is good for men to learn and for women to learn, to say, hey, this is what a true man should look like. But it's also a majority of it bad, and that's why we say that we need to learn about these things. So that's why I'm here to talk to you guys. So what is red pill dating? I wrote down in my notes, it's like the feminism for men. It's like feminism for men. Okay, so it's masculinism. I don't know if that's a word. And it's just as bad. It's a philosophy of gender dynamics and dating. Okay, so what does that mean? What do those big words mean? So a philosophy is just a thought or a process of ideas. And so gender dynamics, which would be the way society should run, patriarchal, matriarchal, or there's even theocracies and stuff like that. It's a way the society should run. So we have this idea that it should be a masculine-run society. Women should be more submissive. And this is found in the Bible, that women should be more submissive. Women should be in the home nurturing and caring for kids and caring for the ones that they love. Because men don't have that trait. It's taken from the movie The Matrix. And I would not recommend this movie to anything. It's been proven, the authors or the producers or the directors, I'm not really sure which ones because I don't watch it, have even said it's transgender propaganda. Don't watch it. It's not a good movie. I've never seen it. I will never watch it. I just know the backstory. I know that it's transgender propaganda and that you shouldn't watch it. So it's based off this idea of choosing a red pill or a blue pill. It's two extremes, like I was saying. And it's based off of two completely ideas. So I guess what they would say is the blue pill would be more the feminism part, and the red pill would be more of the masculine side of things. And so this also goes for politics. There's red pill politics and blue pill politics. You can either be a red pill, which kind of goes with our Republican Party, or you could be a blue pill. And lots of times they choose, kind of like the fundamentalists versus the progressives, they choose an extreme side when we really just need an in-between, a centrist view. Now, a centrist view doesn't work for everything, and there's certainly things that you can't give up as a Catholic, and there's certain parties that align with the Catholic Church more, but you have to remember the church is universal. It's not an American church, and sometimes I feel like we forget about that. There's literally a video that I made last season about this. The Pope is universal, not American, so we need to stop judging him like an American. Okay, so it's based on a couple of different ideas, and I'm going to go through these ideas. I didn't know all this when I was creating the video, so I want you to be able to learn with me, and that's the beauty of this podcast. Okay, so one of the things that I learned is hypergamy, which is the belief that women are naturally inclined to seek men of higher status, wealth, and dominance. And so what I would say is there is an aspect of truth to feminism. There's an aspect of truth to red pill dating. Women are more inclined to seek somebody with power and also to seek somebody who can support them. But it's not about the wealth, it's about the support and somebody who can protect them and be the provider. There is studies shown that women do seek a provider. Why? Because they can feel comfort. In my room, if somebody close to me died, say, I'm supposed to go into my room and cry, but I shouldn't cry in front of my kids. And here's the reason: we shouldn't do that because we're supposed to be what brings the family together. The father is supposed to be what holds the family together, what protects them. And once a father lets go of that reign, it kind of disperses and it goes everywhere, and there's discomfort, and there's actually disunity between the family, and it's dangerous to go there. And so we have to be careful with this well, this is totally wrong and this is totally right. Okay, so another thing was that alpha versus beta male, and this is another two extremes. Alpha would be really wealthy, really strong, really powerful, and beta would be the opposite of that, weak in all of these aspects, and rather poor, lazy, sits on his couch all day. And that is where we get those two extremes once again. So there's this bias of two extremes, and that's a dangerous thing, like I've been saying. The red pill teaches that women are biologically programmed to act on self-interest, especially in relationships. Well, I think everybody would act on self-interest. It's part of our human nature. Is it correct? No, we should act for the interest of our whole body and the interest of our church and God. We should act on the interest of our faith and community and the goodness of other people. We are called, that is what love is, calling to other people, to act for other people, to suffer with, to suffer for. That is literally what love is in the eyes of the church. So one of these things that I found interesting when I was researching for this is it came up as programmed. And the Catholic Church knows that no person is quote-unquote programmed. A consciousness is not programmed, it is developed through vices and virtues. And so that's a video for another time, but we see this language that's already anti-Catholic, kind of like we saw with feminism. It was already anti-Catholic. Well, programmed is not a Catholic term because humans aren't programmed to do anything. Because if we were programmed, then we would just be really, really, really high-tech computers. And humans, I know that we are not really high-tech computers. We have a soul and we have dignity, and that's the important part. Nobody's programmed to do anything. They're developed to do something. And so you might be thinking, Tucker, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They're literally the same thing. I can guarantee they're not the same thing, because a human cannot be programmed. A human is developed, and as a computer can be programmed. I can program this computer to live broadcast to YouTube. I can't program my brain to live broadcast to YouTube because I'm not a computer and will never be a computer unless they build a chip, which I heard they're doing, which is not okay. So Red Pill also talks about the model of self-improvement. We are constantly made for improvement. And like I said yesterday, progress is not bad in the eyes of the church. When it becomes progress that is bad, then we see this divide within the church. And so self-improvement at its core, at its roots, is not bad. It's actually good. And we should be seeking progress. We should be seeking progress in mankind. I mean, just look at Genesis and Exodus. They are constantly progressing. And look at David's kingdom. It is constantly progressing. And look at the 12 tribes of Israel. That's progress being made. It's being made into a huge, huge kingdom and a huge church. Look at the church's progress. We had 72,000 people in the beginning. 72 people in the beginning. And now we have some billion people. It's one of the biggest churches in the world and has been. That's progress. But what the difference is progressivism and progress are two different things. And so male self-improvement is the idea that we need to improve financially, we need to improve physically, and that means going to the gym and working and a lot of this stuff. And while that all is good, it's good to an extent. My body is a temple, but that doesn't mean I should be spending more time in the gym than I do with God. It means that my body is a temple, so I should treat it like that. I should feed it good food. I should nurture my soul, because my soul is an aspect of my body until I die. Okay, so self-improvement is good at its core, but when we get to extremes, this whole thing is about the evils of extremes. Okay, we can't have two extremes because then they divide each other, they pull each other apart, and that's the danger of this. I keep saying that because it's important, and that's what this whole entire feminism versus red pill, feminism versus red pill, masculinity versus femininity, it's based off two extremes. That's progressivism versus fundamentalism. It's two extremes, and we can't have those two extremes. Now, we also have to talk about, is it toxic masculinity? If you go and watch my video about masculinity that I posted last season, you will realize that I have the belief that masculinity can't be toxic. What it actually would be is a toxic lack of masculinity. Yeah, that's right. These lie that you've been sold, this is what masculinity is actually the opposite of masculinity. It's effeminacy. And because you're seeking pleasure over goodness. You're seeking pleasure over true love. And like I said, true love is the good willing of another person, the willing for the betterment of another person. And so if I'm seeking the pleasure over betterment of another person, that is not love, that's selfish, and that makes me effeminate. Right? So this is a lie. You're not getting masculinity from this. You're getting effeminacy. You're getting pleasure. So therefore, red pill dating is not toxic masculinity. It's a toxic lack of masculinity. Toxic masculinity doesn't exist because if it were masculine, it wouldn't be toxic. If it's masculine, it is good. It is good at its nature. It's protective. It's providing. It's loving. It's caring. It's that fatherly love that's totally different from a maternal love. It's totally, totally different. And so it also talks about, this is getting back to the red pill dating, it talks about skepticism and modern relationships, and there's this distrust between modern dating, okay? So I hold something above a woman's head, and that is not a good thought. We can't have this thought that one is superior than the other, because we're both fallen humans. I just talked about this earlier. We're both fallen humans, so how are you going to say that one is better than the other, right? If it were anyway, God progressively got better as he made, and I didn't create this. I didn't think of this myself. God progressively got better as he made. He made things in a progressive manner. Once again, progress is good. And so he made the earth, and then he made humans, and that was his top thing. He made Adam. That was his most perfect thing. And then he made women. So it progressively got better. And women are the most beautiful thing on this earth. Just look at Mary. She is the most beautiful woman in her maternal love, in her feminine genius. And so when we have an extreme like red pill, it's taking that feminine genius and suppressing it and saying, actually, all you have to do is be submissive. And that's not a good thought. That's actually an anti-Catholic thought. You can't be red pill, and you also, honestly, I didn't say this fully outright yesterday in my video. You can't be a feminist and be Catholic. Here's why. Because you can't be in an extreme, right? You can be a Catholic in name, And we have a lot of those people who are Catholic in name only. We call them cafeteria Catholics. They are Catholic in name only. They want the representation. But let me just tell you, it is important to understand and important to see the difference between a faithful Catholic who knows what they're talking about and a Catholic who enjoys what they get from the Catholic Church. What do they get from the Catholic Church? They get representation. They get a community. They get something that follows them. And they also get a stance. They get an easy way out. Oh, I'm Catholic. Oh, I'm doing that. Oh, this and this and this. So it's an easy way out for a lot of people. So there's often criticism of, and it's rightful criticism, of red pill dating, and that is criticism of misogyny and echo chambers. And so I'm going to go over what echo chambers is. I didn't know it when I was researching for this video, but misogyny, yes, there is. But I do think that there's an overuse to certain words in our culture. We have a culture that overuses words and actually lessens the meanings of those words. So if we overuse a word like misogyny, or if we overuse a word of toxic masculinity, or if we overuse the word of racism, it lessens the meaning. Okay, so we need to be careful with what we call misogyny. Saying that a woman has maternal duties and a woman is naturally and biologically preconceived, it's a preconceived notion that the woman is naturally and biologically attracted to motherhood and attracted to strong providing men. That's not misogyny. That's just in our nature. It's in our human nature. And they can choose. Women do choose what they want to be maternal with, whether that be nurturing a job or nurturing a child. The job essentially becomes the child. And so while red pill, when it demeans women, it says I should sleep around. So one of the key concepts that I didn't cover in this is that red pill says we should sleep around, and a woman has to stay faithful to you, but you don't have to stay faithful to a woman. And so what you should do is try to procreate as many children as you possibly can, but not stay with that family. You should procreate with this woman, leave her, procreate with another, and have a ton of kids. The problem with this is you have so many kids all over the world, and yet you do not know them, and they don't have this father figure in their home. And so what do they relate to? And this is where we get into those influencers of the people like the Tates. And so here's the problem, and I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate and will never be, and not a fan of his policies and will never be. I will never support him. But here's the thing. He has a subscriber count. He is influential no matter what people say. He is very influential. So this red pill dating, while people will say, okay, well, it's those few who are on the whatever podcast, those red pillars who are on the whatever podcast, or who are having these channels like Andrew Tate, it's those people against the other people say, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's just them. No, these people have kids watching them and saying, wait, this is actually a good idea. And then they get trapped in this cycle. And it's actually just creating more effeminate men and more effeminate men. And that's where we get the people saying, well, now we need feminism. Because men aren't providing for us, so we have to provide for ourselves. And so we have to masculinize ourselves. And that's not good. If we make effeminate men, who has to take that masculinity place? That's women. And if we make masculine men, who has to take that femininity place? That's men. And so we screw up the entire system that's worked so well for ages and ages and ages, and certainly there's been wrong things, but that is why progress is good. There's also this overgeneralization of this is what everybody wants, and while there is biological facts that men are more tempted towards certain things and women are more tempted to other things, there are also generalizations that you can make. A stereotype is based off of reason and based off of things that happened in the past for multiple things. So while stereotypes might not apply to everybody, a stereotype is generalizing and often overgeneralizing an idea about one group or one type of person. Okay, well, sometimes stereotypes are correct. There are stereotypes that men do want to be fit. Yeah. Men do want to be the protector and do want to be the provider, and that's a correct stereotype. There's stereotypes that women seek that maternal love, seek to be a mother, and that is true. It's just a fact. And you can sit here and you can comment and you can debate. I can defend my position because I study for my position, and it's important for you to understand my position. And if you have an opposite position, that's okay, but you should be able to defend yours too. you can defend yours. And if you have reasonable facts, I might question mine and say, hey, wait, maybe I've had it wrong. But as of right now, I'm taking the best position I can and saying that two extremes don't work. They just divide each other. But there is an even middle that's going to seem more trad to other people because we've gone so far, because we've accepted so much socially. The middle position is going to seem more trad than progressive. It's going to seem that way. And we see this, okay? A centrist is most likely more in the political world, and I follow politics. A centrist is going to be seen more, the Republicans are going to like a centrist more than the Democrats will. Why? Because the Democrats enjoy extreme. They stand for their positions, and standing for something is a good thing. They stand up for their positions. No matter if I disagree with their positions, they stand strong for their positions. Whereas if we have a central position that doesn't go upon fundamentalism or progressivism, and if we have this position that doesn't go fully for red pill and doesn't go fully for feminism, we have this middle, and it actually works out perfectly. And that is the good part. So a Catholic cannot be a red pillar, but a Catholic also can't be a feminist. So what's the middle? What is the middle? What I would say is that men are called to be the provider. They are called to be the protector. It's written on our body that a woman should receive the man. A woman should take in the man. And there is something kind of disgusting about wishing to be held by a woman. You should always want to hold because you are naturally the protector. And if that protection fails, if that protection is absent, then we lose all stability in our actual world, because we do need stability in our world. We need stability in the ability to protect our families, right? And so men, in my view, men are called to be the protector and the main provider of the home. And women are supposed to have that maternal love, because if that maternal love isn't there, then who is raising the kids? The father can't love a child as much as, in the same way as the mother can. So who is looking out for the kids? Well, we subsidize our resources and we hand them out to different things, like here's daycare, and then you're not actually raising your kids. So women are called to raise the children, and men are called to provide for the children and the wife. And that's how we have a unified, we have this give and take of masculine energy and feminine energy, and they're united, and so that builds good young kids. And while I'm not saying that women can never be in the workforce, I am saying that a majority of the women are not going to. In a world where the ideals of God, a majority of the women don't actually want to. They just want to stick it to somebody, or they just want to prove that they can be. And what a man should be saying is, you don't have to prove anything to me, because I'm loving you as you are. I'm loving you in your true femininity. But we've forgotten that, I feel like. We've forgotten that I can love somebody for who they truly are deep down and who God created them for. That being their feminine genius and their masculine genius. We can love each other for the truth that we were created for. So it's not this divide of, you have to prove it to me by emasculating yourself or effeminizing yourself, because like I said, the world just falls apart. We don't have this stability that we actually need. We do need stability, and we need it now, because I'm not going to say the world is ending, but we've got a pretty screwed up culture where we are seeing this problem evolve and evolve and evolve. And tradition is coming back, and I will say that is good. But we need to protect the people that are coming after us, the next generation. We have to protect them and say, hey, red pill isn't good, but feminism isn't good either. We have to have this middle where it's a give and take. The feminine energy mixes with masculine energy, and that is important. Okay, so I thank you for watching today's show. Boy, do we have a good show for you tomorrow. We're going to be talking, I believe, unless the schedule changes, unless something super bad changes, I believe that we're going to be talking about transgenderism and why that doesn't work for Catholics. Now, we're talking about some really heavy topics, and that's okay. It's good to talk about heavy topics, but I want you to remember that God loves you, and God will always love you. God created you for a special purpose. God created you to be His, okay? And so if you are His, and if you realize you are His and you love Christ, you will get to know your true genius, right? And your true body and your true being and the true reason that you're here. Okay, and so we have to protect those true reasons. And that's why we're having these hard discussions, so that you can stand up for the faith. And if you're new to the Catholic faith and you're just learning, these might be hard truths for you. And that's okay. It's okay to struggle with some things. It's okay to struggle with the way things are being put. And I do think that I struggle with this too, but I think that we need to start putting it in a more loving aspect, to say this is directly and intrinsically against our human nature. But it does need to be said. We can't just sit by silently watching these families be destroyed because there's no father, or these families being destroyed because there's no mother. We can't just sit idly by and say, well, I've got it correct. Because imagine getting to heaven and saying, well, I had it correct the whole time. Imagine getting to heaven and seeing all those people who you could have said something if you just researched, or if you just listened, or if you just presented. You could have saved those people. So we are called to save those people. We are called to love them and show them God's goodness and his great love. So thank you for watching. I hope that you tune in tomorrow around 1 p.m. We'll let you know if that changes for our next show. If you liked this video and want to see clips or want to share clips, there's clipped videos on our channel. Thank you once again, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Catholic Guide.